From the French invasion of England via William the Conqueror to the rubbish reign of King John that ended it all, let's meet the medieval English kings who held a dual rule over both Normandy and England. Normandy, France. Lush green countryside, dramatic coastal cliffs, sandy beaches and fertile farmland. A land of culinary delights. The Vikings liked Normandy so much they decided to settle there. No wonder the medieval monarchy of England was so keen to keep hold of their holiday home in the north of France. So let's meet them, William I or William the Conqueror, because before the British family were a bunch of Germans, they were a bunch of French. After a challenging start in life, the deft and determined William, aka William the Bastard, became the Duke of Normandy in 1035, and then decided he'd quite like to be King of England too. In true descendant of a Viking fashion, he successfully conquered England in 1066. You may know William from the Bayeux Tapestry, a 70-metre embroidered cloth and fantastic PR piece depicting the Norman conquest, the infamous Battle of Hastings, and Will's victory over English king of the time Harold Godwin's son. So our first king isn't so much an English king ruling over Normandy as the other way around. William I was succeeded by William II, nicknamed Rufus, which is the Latin word for red, due to his red hair and ruddy complexion, and perhaps also for his fiery temper and aggressive personality. Whilst favourite William Rufus inherited the throne of England, his older brother Robert Curthose inherited the title of Duke of Normandy and even tried to usurp William's English throne. So William invaded and gave Robert a slap on the wrist and told him to know his place, which was under William, and the kingdom was back to knowing some form of unity. William II's death in 1100 is shrouded in mystery and controversy. He was killed by an arrow to the chest while hunting, an arrow shot by a nobleman in the king's own party. While officially recorded as an accident, suspicions of foul play and assassination have persisted, given the political benefits William's death provided to his younger brother Henry, who quickly seized the throne and became Henry I. The youngest son of William the Conqueror became King of England in 1100 and also became the Duke of Normandy in 1106, after defeating his brother Robert Curthose, who of course tried to usurp him too. The most tragic event of Henry I's reign was the sinking of the White Ship in 1120, a ship which was carrying Henry's son and heir, William Adelin, along with many other nobles and courtiers. This plunged the kingdom into a succession crisis, as Henry struggled to secure the succession in the absence of a male heir, making way for, arguably, one of the worst kings of England, Stephen of England. He was the grandson of William the Conqueror through his daughter's side, and Stephen had totally promised to support Henry I's daughter, Empress Matilda, to ascend to the throne after Henry's death. Instead, he seized the throne for himself, resulting in a long period of civil war, known as the Anarchy. During his turbulent rule, control of Normandy was finally prized from the hands of Stephen in 1144 by Empress Matilda's husband, Geoffrey Plantagenet. So the dual rule is broken up again, right? Well, no, because Matilda and Geoffrey's son, Henry Plantagenet, is doing rather well at war too, and Stephen has to name young Henry as his heir, meaning Henry will inherit both lands. What could possibly go wrong? Henry II. So Henry became the Duke of Normandy in 1150 and the King of England in 1154. And actually, it didn't go wrong. It all went rather well. Henry significantly expanded the territories under his control, creating the Angevin Empire. He inherited the Count of Maine and the County of Anjou from his father, and acquired the Duchy of Aquitaine through his marriage to Eleanor of Aquitaine. These vast holdings in western France, along with England, Wales and parts of Ireland, made Henry one of the most powerful monarchs in Europe. So he was a pretty successful ruler, apart from some uprisings here and there, namely from his own sons. Don't worry, I'm sure this succession will go really smoothly. Richard I. Henry II's son Richard, also known as Richard the Lionheart, on account of his noble, brave and fierce leadership. was a legendary warrior king whose reign was marked by his military prowess, leadership during the Third Crusade, and enduring legacy in English folklore. However, he was at times cruel and certainly had a dark and violent side, but it made him good at war, so swings and roundabouts. Being super busy at war in France and the Holy Land meant that Richard was mostly absent from his own kingdom during his reign, spending perhaps only 6 months of his 10-year rule actually in England. On the way back from Crusade, Richard was captured and imprisoned for ransom by Henry VI, the Holy Roman Emperor. Within the year, the King of France, Philip II, conquered Normandy with the help of Richard's backstabbing brother, John. Upon his release, Richard forgave John and began his reconquest of Normandy, which was an all-around bad time for the people, with Roger of Howden reporting the unburied bodies of the dead lying in the streets and squares of the cities of Normandy. Being excellent at war, Richard would succeed and reclaim Normandy, and he made sure to shore up his defences thereafter. Legend has it that in 1198, whilst building the impressive and innovative new castle, Chateau Galliard in Normandy, Richard and the labourers working on the castle were drenched in a rain of blood. Some might see this as a bad omen. Not that this stopped Richard, until he was killed by a crossbow bolt wound that turned gangrenous in 1199, leaving his kingdom to his brother, King John of England. John's military failures, administrative mismanagement, and disputes with his barons weakened England's hold on its continental possessions. King Philip II of France preferred the other English crown claimant, Arthur I of Brittany, and war broke out. But Normandy was well defended by strategically placed castles, so the conquest was slow. John negotiated peace and earned himself the nickname John Softsword from Englishmen who would have preferred the Frenchy bashing attitude of his brother Richard. This all resulted in a long-lasting peace. No, not really. 2 years later, in 1202, war recommenced when John decided to ditch his current wife, his cousin Isabella, Countess of Gloucester, for Isabella of Angoulême, who just happened to own strategically placed French lands. Isabella's previous fiancé, Hugh IX of Lusignan, was not happy about the loss of these lands and complained to King Philip, who decided this was a good time to take Normandy for his own holiday home location. John treated allies and prisoners alike badly, which riled up his enemies and caused his allies to desert him. In 1203, the beloved Chateau Galliard was besieged by Philip, and in 1204 the castle fell. The decisive Battle of Bouvines in 1214 resulted in the loss of Normandy and other territories to the French crown, marking the end of the Angevin Empire. After this, there may have been kings who laid claim to Normandy, but the kings of England would never rule Normandy again. If you'd like to hear more about awful kings, check out this list of the worst kings in medieval history. Or if you want to know who stole the British crown jewels, watch this video about the legendary Colonel Blood.